Imagine a tense standoff on a quiet American street where a young black girl stands defiantly against a mocking cop, her voice trembling as she declares her mother is a special forces operative only for the officer's laughter to choke in his throat when a shadowy figure emerges from the fog, exuding authority and danger. This is no ordinary tale of justice. It's a roller coaster of twists that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Subscribe now to catch every heart-pounding moment of this 8,000-word saga. And don't miss the shocking revelations that will redefine heroism. Hit that subscribe button and join the journey. In the fading light of a humid August evening in 2025, the small town of Riverton, Ohio, buzzed with the usual hum of suburban life, kids riding bikes, neighbors watering lawns, and the distant bark of a dog. But tonight, that tranquility shattered when a police siren wailed through the streets, drawing a crowd to the corner of Maple and Fifth. At the center of the commotion stood 14-year-old Aaliyah Jackson, her school backpack slung over one shoulder, her dark eyes blazing with a mix of fear and fury. Facing her was Officer Don Hargrove, a burly man with a perpetual sneer, his hand resting casually on his holster as he loomed over her. The scene had started innocently enough. Hamia had been walking home from her after-school program when Hargrove pulled over, accusing her of loitering near a convenience store. "You kids think you own the streets," he barked, his voice dripping with condescension. Aaliyah, tired of the harassment she'd endured since moving to this predominantly white town 6 months ago, stood her ground. "Not doing anything." "Wrong," she shot back, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "My mom's gonna hear about this, and she's in special forces, so you better watch it." The crowd murmured, some snickering, others exchanging skeptical glances. Hargrove threw his head back and let out a loud, mocking laugh that echoed off the brick walls of the nearby storefronts. "Special forces? Oh, that's rich. What's next? Little girl your mom's gonna parachute in and save the day?" The onlookers joined in, their laughter a cruel chorus that stung Aaliyah's pride. She clenched her fists, her cheeks burning with humiliation, but she held her chin high. "You'll see," she muttered, her voice barely audible over the gears. Hargrove stepped closer, his shadow swallowing her small frame. "Yeah. Well, until your superhero mom shows up, you're coming with me. Hands where I can see him." He reached for her arm, but before his fingers could close around her wrist, a deep, commanding voice cut through the air like a blade. "Step away from my daughter, officer." Every head turned as a figure emerged from the thickening mist that had rolled in with the evening chill. She was a woman in her early 40s, her posture rigid with military precision, her dark skin gleaming. Under the streetlights, she wore a black tactical jacket, cargo pants, and combat boots, her hair pulled into a tight bun. A scar ran diagonally across her left cheek, a silent testament to battles fought and won. This was Sergeant Major Evelyn Jackson, Aaliyah's mother, a decorated Special Forces operative who had spent the last decade serving in covert operations across the globe. The laughter died instantly, replaced by a stunned silence. Hargrove's hand froze midair, his smirk fading as he took in the woman's steely gaze. "Who the hell are you?" he demanded, trying to regain his authority. Evelyn's lips curled into a faint, dangerous smile. "I'm the one who's about to teach you some respect. Let her go now." The crowd held its breath as Hargrove hesitated, his bravado crumbling under Evelyn's unyielding stare. He released Aaliyah's arm, stepping back with a muttered, "Curse, this ain't over," he growled, retreating to his cruiser. But as he slammed the door and sped off, the tension only deepened. Evelyn turned to Aaliyah, her expression softening. "You okay, baby?" Aaliyah nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "I told him, Mom. I told him who you are." Evelyn hugged her tightly, but her eyes scanned the dispersing crowd, a flicker of unease crossing her face. She knew this wouldn't be the end of it. Her presence in Riverton was supposed to be a secret, a quiet retirement after years of classified missions. Someone had leaked her identity, and that someone was watching. The next morning, the incident was the talk of the town, amplified by a viral video posted by a bystander. Aaliyah became an overnight sensation, dubbed the Special Forces Kid on social media. While Evelyn's heroic entrance sparked wild speculation, some hailed her as a local legend. Others whispered about her past, hinting at dark secrets. At home, Evelyn paced the living room, her phone buzzing with calls from old colleagues. "You've been compromised," warned Major Tom Delaney, her former commanding officer. "Get out of there. They know you're back." Evelyn frowned, her mind racing. "Who's they, Tom?" "I've been off the grid for months." Delaney's voice dropped. "The syndicate. They've been tracking ex-operatives since that botched op in Kehew last year. You're a loose end." The call ended abruptly, leaving Evelyn staring at the wall, her heart pounding. The syndicate was a shadowy network of ex-military and intelligence operatives turned mercenaries, and she had crossed them during a mission to dismantle their arms trafficking ring. She thought she'd escaped their reach, but now, with her identity exposed, they were closing in. Days turned into a tense week. Aaliyah noticed her mother growing more vigilant, checking locks, scanning windows, teaching her basic self-defense moves. "Just in case," Evelyn said, her tone clipped. One evening, as they sat down to dinner, the doorbell rang.
Ellen.
Tensed, motioning for Aaliyah to stay put as she grabbed a concealed pistol from a drawer. Peering through the peephole, she saw a man in a postal uniform holding a package. Reluctantly, she opened the door, keeping the gun hidden behind her back. "Package for Jackson," the man said, his voice flat. Evelyn signed for it, her instincts screaming as she noticed his overly steady hands and the bulge under his jacket. The moment the door closed, she tore open the box. Inside was a single black rose and a note. "We know where you are. Midnight. Come alone." Blood ran cold. This was no random delivery, it was a summons from the syndicate. At 11:30 p.m., Evelyn kissed Aaliyah goodbye, leaving her with a neighbor under the pretense of a late-night errand. Dressed in her tactical gear, she drove to the abandoned warehouse district on the edge of town, the note's coordinates etched in her mind. The air was thick with the scent of rust and oil as she approached the designated building. Inside, dim light revealed a circle of figures, their faces obscured by hoods. At the center stood a tall man with a scarred lip, his voice smooth as velvet. "Sergeant Major Jackson. We've been looking for you." Evelyn's grip tightened on her weapon. "You've got the wrong person," she lied. The man chuckled. "Oh, we know exactly who you are. Kehew, 2024. You cost us millions. Now, you'll pay, your daughter will." Rage flared in Evelyn's chest, but she kept her composure. "What do you want?" The leader stepped closer, his breath hot against her face. "Information. The codes to the Safe House network. Give them up, and we let you live." Evelyn's mind raced. Those codes were burned into her memory, a safeguard for her team's survival. Betraying them meant death for others, but refusing meant death for her and Aaliyah. Before she could respond, a gunshot rang out, and the leader crumpled, a bullet through his skull. Chaos erupted as masked figures stormed the warehouse, engaging the syndicate in a firefight. Evelyn dove for cover, her training kicking in as she returned fire. Amid the smoke, a familiar voice shouted, "Eve, move!" It was Tom Delaney, leading a squad of Special Forces allies. "We tracked the signal," he yelled over the gunfire. "They were planning to ambush you." The battle was brutal, but brief, ending with the syndicate's forces either dead or fleeing. As the dust settled, Tom approached Evelyn, his face grim. "You're not safe here. We need to relocate you both tonight." Evelyn nodded, her trust in him reignited, but a nagging doubt lingered. How had he known to find her? At home, Aaliyah was shaken but relieved to see her mother alive. They packed quickly, Evelyn, explaining only that they had to leave for safety. As they drove toward an undisclosed location, Leah's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "You can't run forever." Panic seized her, but Evelyn remained stoic, her eyes fixed on the road. Hours later, they arrived at a secluded cabin in the West Virginia mountains, a safe house maintained by Delaney's team. For a week, they lived in relative peace, training and bonding. Aaliyah marveled at her mother's skills, firing her first shot at a target range, while Evelyn shared stories of her missions, sanitized versions, of course, but the calm was a facade. One night, as Aaliyah slept, Evelyn received an encrypted call. "They found the cabin," Delaney warned. "It's a trap. Get out now." Before she could react, the window shattered, and gas canisters rolled inside. Evelyn dragged Aaliyah to the basement, sealing the door as masked assailants breached the house. Through the haze, she recognized their tactic syndicate trained, but something was off. Their movements were too coordinated, too precise. As they fought their way out through a hidden tunnel, Evelyn's suspicions grew. At the tunnel's exit, they were ambushed by a new team led by none other than Tom. "Delaney, I'm sorry, Eve," he said, his gun trained on her. "The syndicate made me an offer I couldn't